everybody, so for today's card I'm using the new Fancy Ticket Stacks Die-Namics from My Favorite Things, and I used the second largest die to die cut some pink lemonade cardstock, and then I'm inking up one of the stamps from the textile background stamp with Sweet Tooth aka white pigment ink. So just inking it up, and then I'm going to stamp the pattern on the entire piece of die cut cardstock. I've been raving about this set on my blog. I love it, and I actually find it really easy to line up to create like a seamless background with, so love. So once I've got that all inked up and stamped, I'm going to clean off my stamp, and when I use pigment inks I use a baby wipe anyway, but I always use a baby wipe to clean my stamps when I've used pigment inks, just because those can really gum up like a stamp scrubber in that, because the ink is so much thicker and denser. So it's a lot easier to just wipe everything off, or at the very least wipe off any excess ink with a baby wipe before using your stamp scrubber. So did that, and then I wanted to cut a window in the middle of this piece of cardstock with one of the butterfly dies from the new Winged Beauties Die-Namics. And to do that, I don't want to tape the die down because it could rip the cardstock after going through the machine, so you just use a sticky note to hold the die into place so that it doesn't shift when you run it through your machine, because then you'd have to redo everything, which would be a total pain. So you could die cut before you stamp, just to kind of save yourself the chance of screwing up, but I just find using a sticky note to hold it in place works perfectly. And then I use the sticky note again to hold the pink cardstock over a piece of craft cardstock, and then I used the cutout hole as a guide to stamp the butterfly, again with the Sweet Tooth ink, onto the craft cardstock. And I had used the sticky note because I wanted to pop the pink cardstock up on dimensionals, and it was just easier to hold it in place before you put the dimensionals on and stamp it. Because once you've got the dimensionals in place, you're not going to be able to stamp it very well, or at least, yeah, it just would make a big mess. So did all that first, and then yeah, got my dimensionals on there, which I always cut in half when I'm using larger ones, just to kind of make them go a little further. And then got that adhered into place. And then I'm going to mat the piece of craft cardstock with another piece of the pink lemonade cardstock. Going for a really simple card, just so that the butterfly and like the pattern on the pink cardstock kind of pops. And just a really soft card. This would make a really nice baby card too, FYI. So did that, and then I wanted to add a couple of just little white brads to the top corners of the craft cardstock, just to kind of emphasize that space, I guess. So I just used my little piercing guide just so that the holes were lined up properly. You can usually eyeball it, but it's usually when I eyeball something like that I end up screwing it up and putting one completely crooked. So yeah, added my little white brads, and then I'm going to adhere this to the card base itself, and this time I'm doing a 5-inch square card. So I got that adhered, and then I want to go on and add a sentiment to the card. So I'm just using a sentiment from the same Winged Beauties stamp set, and I decided to stamp that onto a piece of white cardstock, and I'm using the MFT craft ink. Yes, they have craft ink. Love it. Like, perfect shade of brown. Like, it literally is a craft ink. I can't rave about this enough, I don't think. So yeah, I love it. I love my craft cardstock, so having an ink to go with it is perfect. So anyway, stamp that onto the white cardstock, and then I just use my scissors to freehand cut a little flag edge to that, and then added my adhesive, and then I'm going to put that on the card front. So I don't know about you guys, but I feel like this is going really slow. I usually speed up my videos by about 200%. And then for this one I only did 150%, and I just feel like it's going so slow. Anyway, so once I did that, I had already stamped a piece of pink cardstock again with the background stamp, and die cut and stamped another butterfly onto craft cardstock. And then I grabbed this other sentiment from the Winged Beauty set and inking it up again with the craft ink, just like so. So yeah, and this acrylic block it's by Provocraft, and I bought it years and years ago, but it's like the perfect size for those textile background stamps. You need a good long acrylic block for that. So got the sentiment stamped and then adding the cardstock and the butterfly, and that's all there is to it. So there will be a link below to my blog post with links to the supplies used. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!